Hi, so I'm here to talk about X Factor. Well, this is a new video not attached to the previous cringy videos I made that I'm really embarrassed about. And if I knew how to delete them, I would, but I'm not very good with technical things, to be honest. Anyway, so about the X Factor, this is UK, by the way. The real X Factor, I just like to point out, unlike the ones that the Americans sort of produced. And James Arthur has won, yay! But I actually really wanted him to come second because it always seems to be the people who come second or third, or even like last, that do better. Because let's face it, the people who win, they're like really big and they have like a single and it's like #1, and you're like, oh my god, you're gonna go a long way. And then it just turns into a shipwreck about at least a year after you haven't heard of them. So I've made a list here of people who have won the X Factor. And I will also say which ones have actually gone somewhere and are known today. Steve Brookstein or Brookstein. That's like the worst name ever to win X Factor in. Oh my god. Like James Arthur, that's got like a ring to it. That Steve Brookstein or Steen or whatever. Like, that's just a bit weird, to be honest. I have heard of him, but I've never heard any of his music, and I didn't know he was singing. He could have been a magician, for all I know. I didn't really. Let me know if you've heard of him, unless you're like really old, because then of course you've heard of him because you're really old, and old people have heard of a lot of people and stuff because they're old. Okay, Shane Ward. This is about like my third take of this cup because I kept saying awkward stuff. That probably made it awkward as well. I can't bother to refilm anyway. So yeah, I've heard of him. I had the CD. Well, I always lose my CDs and break the CD covers. Let me know if I'm the only one who does that, because it'd be nice to know if there was another species out there who ended up with broken CD cases. And yeah, so Shane Ward. Not really around much anymore, is he? So, yeah, I was going to make a joke with the surname then, but that didn't really work. It sounded better in my head, to be honest. But just here with a little can of Coke. These are really weird things, like retarded little miniature Cokes for like miniature. But it's like something out of the Sylvanians, to be honest. Sorry, getting off topic. Anyway, yeah, Shane Ward, not really around. He won the X Factor in the second episode. Okay. Number 3. And for American people who may be watching, that means 3. Or in Spanish, tres. Because I heard you guys aren't like good at French. I'm sorry, that might be like a stereotype, but I'm just saying. Leona Lewis. Okay. So people who really like X Factor and are totally disagreeing with me at this point, going, yeah, they are really big and I still know them and stuff. Okay, you are kind of right on Leona Lewis. But one thing I can say is she was really big. She had like a really big album and like I think quite a few #1, like 1 or 2. And then she disappeared and everybody said she went to like America. And I saw like a song, like she did quite a few like features for people, like Calvin Harris and stuff. And I saw them, but she didn't do quite a lot of individual stuff here in the UK that we got here. I don't know if she did anything in America. But, yeah. But she has her new song out now. Well, it's not really new, but it's, what's it called? Trouble, featuring, like, this rapper guy who I can't remember what his name is. And, it's quite good. But, she did disappear for quite a while, so. But I am saying she was quite big, and she's quite big now. Again, so I think she's a bit of a tick. Like she went somewhere. She did. Leon Jackson. Did he even win the X Factor? To be honest, like he won it, but then he released a single that I can't even remember, and then he hasn't done anything since. So Simon Cowell obviously dropped him because he drops him on the record label, which is like Sync Records or something, if they don't get successful after a year. So Simon's doing pretty well with One Direction, to be honest. So Cinco for the Americans. I know I've got a few Alaskans watching because I look at the little rate thing. And number 5 for those normal people who don't really speak other languages. And Cinq for the French people. And Huig for those people who are Irish. But everybody in Ireland speaks English anyway, but just in case you wanted to know what 5 was in Irish, now you know. If you're one of those Irish Americans who's Alexandra Burke. Okay, so, well, she was kind of big because she had, like, all those songs where she was, like, well, like, she had it all, like, she was sort of acting all, like, bad. I think in one of them she was, like, an American football advert or something. Like, she was wearing an American football outfit, and, they were in, like, an American football stadium or field or arena or whatever the Yanks call them. But yeah, she did like a few songs, and now she's not really that big, to be honest. You know, I mean JLS have done better, to be honest, but even them, they aren't that big anymore as they were because everybody's so hung up on One Direction. Like the boy bands are so like, it's like fight. Well, it's not even a fight anymore because One Direction have kind of won, like ×5 because they are kind of the best apparently. I think they're just a bunch of pretty boys with the same music, but I don't want to get hated on YouTube, so I'll say I love them. Okay. Yeah. Joe McElderry. I have been waiting to get onto this young man because he was like, he released a song called Ambition, which I remember, or it was something else beginning of the day, and after that he started doing all this classical music, and then he admitted in an interview that he was gay, and I don't think, like, so now his music's for the elderly, but the elderly don't really want to listen to someone who's gay. I'm not being homophobic, because I'm fine with the gays, you know, but I think the older generation have like a bit of a problem accepting them into society, but especially the religious ones, but, like the really religious ones, but so he hasn't really gone any, like when you always tell when they're not that successful, because when they tour they go to like arenas that aren't really that big. Like if you're in like Northampton, you know someone isn't that big when they're at the Royal and Derngate. You're like, well, no one comes to Northampton. So basically, if you come to Northampton at all, you're pretty much unsuccessful. But except for Dara O'Brien, because it's an exception for comedians, because they go all around the place, and they're pretty cool, to be honest. I prefer them than singers, because singers are a bit up themselves. But yeah. Savon! See what I did there? I connected Strictly with X Factor. I'm quite impressed with myself because I don't actually watch Strictly. My dad does. He loves it actually, but yeah, I don't. Number 7 is Matt Cardle. I remember he used to wear a hat, and he was in Danny Minogue's little group, and well, obviously he hasn't done that well because I think he released that song, like, he released 2 successful songs that went really far up the charts, but then coming first to One Direction, I don't know how One Direction didn't win, and I don't get how Little Mix were the first ever band to win X Factor, because when you think about it, they have all their, like, distant relatives voting for them, like, each and every one, so I think groups won every year. That's what I thought, but then they don't. So, yeah. Matt Cardle. Bit of an Alexandra Burke story there, except a bit less. Yeah. Matthew Le Cardell. Number 8. Chanel. Number 8 was Little Mix. Oh, they're so cute. I know they're older than me, but they just seem younger than me in like my world. But yeah, they seem to be doing pretty well with DNA. Since DNA, I'm not gonna sing because that would be really embarrassing. And Wings and that other song. Cannonball, when they're singing it, if you listen to it now, because I'm telling you this, you will never listen to this the same. It sounds like can in a ball when they sound it, when they sing it even. So then go and listen to the song now, and I guarantee you all you'll hear is can in a ball when they're singing Cannonball. I used to think that was what they were saying. I was a bit thick, to be honest, but I still kind of am, to be honest, but, you know, and I say to be honest too much. I'm like, James Arthur! I wanted him to come second because it's like a known fact. But, yeah, he won, and I hope he does the best. Because I think the Jermaine guy with the haircut, he really needs to win because I don't think that many people were going to buy his records. I mean, I love Jermaine. He's, like, Jamazing. But, I don't think he's really people's type of musician, to be honest. I'm just so happy Chris Maloney went out, to be honest, because he was, there I am, but to be honest again, because he was so annoying. And now I was looking on the internet to see who won the X Factor so I could tell you. And it came up with him like feuding, and he didn't go to the X Factor party. There's doubts if he'll show up on the tour because he's really pissed off. And I'm like, well, God, what were you expecting? You're like some kind of 60s weirdo. Like, Talisa was so right about him, and fame just went to his head. And I think the wrong people were in the final. Well, I just think Chris was the wrong person to be in the final. I think Ella should have been in the final. And I think there's many people out there who can agree with me, because it's actually a known fact that X Factor lost viewers as soon as Ella went out. Because it was just until the final, because everybody wanted to see, well, who's winning instead of Ella. Like, I don't see why James and Ella were in the bottom two that week. I think it's either fixed, or people, like they said on TV, people were just not voting because they think, oh, they're safe, we might as well vote for Rylan instead. I think Rylan would admit himself he should have been in that bottom two instead of James and Ella. Because Ella's really sweet. And so is James. Okay, so that is it for today. Well, probably this week or this month, depending when I have another time to make a video. But I want to say thank you for watching. Please don't leave me in comments, because I know I'm really annoying, and I sometimes put on a posh voice. Well, I don't even mean to, but, you know, and this is a really cringy video actually, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to upload it, but no mean comments, please. People who go to my school understand what that's about. Bye. Oh, and like, subscribe, and comment, and just shower me with happiness.